Disney has a new princess, and her name is Halle Bailey. The actress cast to play Ariel in an upcoming Little Mermaid live-action movie.
A lot of people will be shocked to know that my favorite Disney princess growing up, it was Ariel, no lie.
As some praise the bold move, others criticizing the pick online, questioning whether a black woman could portray the fictional red-headed princess.
The Little Mermaid director Rob Marshall addressed the racist backlash Halle Bailey has faced since being cast as Ariel. He said there was no agenda during the casting and that they auditioned every ethnicity for the role before deciding on singer Halle Bailey.
The hashtag #NotMyAriel quickly trending on Twitter. Bailey's skin color front and center.
The goal, he explained, was to find someone, quote, incredibly strong, passionate, beautiful, smart, clever, and with a great deal of fire and joy.
Some tweeting, this isn't about racism. We just want an Ariel that looks like the Ariel we love. And stop ruining the classics.
So the PR disaster for Disney's upcoming live-action remake of The Little Mermaid continues.
The Little Mermaid live action was recently released and it is currently breaking box office records for the year, becoming one of the fastest and highest grossing films of the year. Although fans have been arguing that the big budget production studios should opt for more original content instead of constant remakes, reboots, and sequels, The Little Mermaid is one of the most revered stories in the Disney catalog. The lead actress in the film is singer Halle Bailey, and audiences applaud the impact that she and the movie have on young children of the future generation. However, this was not free of controversy. This video is broken down into 5 chapters, so feel free to skip to any of the various timestamps listed in this video. Before we begin, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below what other pop culture moments you want me to cover on this channel. Let's get into it. Halle Bailey is best known as a singer in the famous R&B duo Chloe and Halle, with her older sister Chloe Bailey. Chloe would find fame first by getting small roles in various projects such as Last Holiday, Meet the Browns, and The Fighting Temptations, where she actually played a younger version of Beyonce's character. This would foreshadow the success in both of the sisters' lives. The two sisters would gain further prominence in the 2010s when they began posting song covers on YouTube. They would catch the eye of Disney Channel and would win the 5th season of The Next Big Thing on Radio Disney. Notable alumni of the singing series include Coco Jones, Her, and Symphonique Miller. With this new exposure, they would book guest appearances on shows such as Austin and Ally and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. They would continue singing covers, and one of their most popular covers was of Beyonce's Pretty Hurts, which went viral. Even Beyonce would be impressed and signed the duo to her management company, Parkwood Entertainment. Over the next few years, the duo would be applauded for their spin on futuristic and neo-soul R&B, and the fact that they were two of the best live singers of the new generation. Within 5 years of being signed, the girls released 3 EPs, a mixtape, and 2 critically acclaimed albums, The Kids Are Alright and Ungodly Hour. If you haven't watched the live performances during the Ungodly Hour era, then you are severely missing out. As 2020 would come to a close, the sisters would begin exploring single ventures, which brings us to the next part of this video. The Little Mermaid was initially released through Disney in 1989. The film would become a major success while Disney was experiencing some commercial failures and moderate hits. The film revitalized the emphasis on full-length animation films and contributed to the birth of other Disney classics such as The Lion King and Aladdin. Grossing over $250 million worldwide, the film was a critical and commercial success. Disney would begin production on a live action of The Little Mermaid in 2016. Casting would open in late 2018 and early 2019. On July 3rd, 2019, Halle was cast as Ariel in the live action. According to director Rob Marshall, after an extensive search, it is abundantly clear that Halle possesses the rare combination of spirit, heart, youth, innocence, and substance, plus a glorious singing voice, all intrinsic qualities necessary to play this iconic role. Halle's casting as a Little Mermaid would spark an immense backlash among the public. As we all know, the original Ariel in The Little Mermaid was portrayed by a white woman with bright red hair. In a 2019 poll by by The Hollywood Reporter, just less than half of Americans supported the idea of minorities playing the roles of characters who had been initially cast as white. When prompted, thinking about live-action movie remakes of classic cartoons, do you support or oppose actors who are racial and ethnic minorities playing characters who would have been white in past films? 48% answered strongly or somewhat support, 28% strongly or somewhat opposed, and 31% said either they did not know or had no opinion. The same poll also found a majority in support of remakes that are as close to the original as possible, including sticking to the race and ethnicity of each character. When the initial casting announcement came out that Halle as the lead actress, some critics claimed that Disney was simply trying to be woke and that it defied the original portrayal of the princess. This is not the first time fans criticized the inclusion of POC actors in originally white cast roles. The Lord of the Rings series received similar scrutiny for the inclusion of Black and Asian actors under the viewpoint that it undermines the show's faithfulness to the original world. According to fans' chief complaint was that the decision to include non-white characters had ruined the authenticity of Tolkien's world because he had never described his elves, hobbits, men, and dwarves as anything other than white. This is not the first time that Hollywood would cast actors in a role that was racially different from their characters. Some of the more popular examples include Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra in the film adaptation of her life, where Cleopatra is heavily rumored to be of Black descent. The entire Avatar: The Last Airbender cast, with the original drawing much interconnected inspiration from Asian culture, but was cast primarily of white actors, and the only significant POC, Dev Patel, playing the villain, and Angelina Jolie playing Marion Pearl, an Afro-Cuban woman in the 2007 film A Mighty Heart. A trend that becomes more prevalent is that it is widely accepted within Hollywood for actors of white descent to play POC roles rather than POC playing traditionally white viewed roles. This has some historical implications from the 19th and 20th centuries. After the abolishment of slavery in 1865 and the somewhat free period between slavery and the Jim Crow era, Black people were slowly building up. However, landmark cases such as Plessy versus Ferguson championed the separate but equal doctrine that permeated into Hollywood. As a result, many films and production companies refused to hire Black actors and actresses, opting into utilizing blackface, which is defined by Webster's Dictionary as dark makeup worn to mimic the appearance of a Black person and especially to mock or ridicule Black people. Blackface was used as a means to mock and display Black Americans in comical and demeaning ways. In the early years of modern film, white actors played all Black roles. Two of the most well-known and popular films from this time period were Uncle Tom's Cabin and The Birth of a Nation. The Birth of a Nation, originally released in 1915, the film was a dramatic interpretation of life post-Civil War. A film basically protesting the attribution of rights to Black Americans. The film displayed Black people as caricatures and savages sent to destroy civilization and that white Americans needed protection. The film has remained controversial. It's one of the most historical films of all time. Blackface is no longer a common practice in film and media. It has shifted to Black and POC erasure along with colorism. One of the best examples that jeopardized an actress's career was the 2016 film Nina, based on jazz musician and activist Nina Simone. Zoe Saldana is cast to play Nina, who was a dark-skinned Black woman. Zoe, a brown-skinned Dominican and Puerto Rican actress, was accused of blackface when images of her on set depicted her wearing extremely dark makeup and a larger nose prosthetic. During its release, Zoe defended her casting in the role.
And what kept me from, I guess, getting stressed or being hurt by the comments is that I'm doing it for my sisters, I'm doing it for my brothers, and I don't care who tells me that I am not this and I am not that. I know who I am, and I know what Nina Simone means to me, so that is my truth and that set me free.
In an interview with Allure magazine, Zoe would add, the script probably would still be lying around, going from office to office, agency to agency, and nobody would have done it. Female stories aren't relevant enough, especially a Black female story. She told Allure, I made a choice. Do I continue passing on the script and hope that the right Black person will do it? Or do I say, you know what, whatever consequences this may bring out, my casting is nothing in comparison to the fact that the story must be told. In 2020, Zoe would officially denounce her decision to take the role, and the film was critically panned. Disney Channel has remained the leader in influencing many children across the world for the last 50 years, supplying us with some of our favorite Disney Channel movies, TV shows, and music centered on themes such as self-love, friendship, and kindness. Inclusivity is the one area glooming over the brand. Prior to the 1990s, most, if not all, Disney princesses and heroes were traditionally white presenting. In an article by Madison Hart at King Street Journal, 7 out of 11 Disney princesses are white. According to MediaMilwaukee.com, these ethnic princesses do not display the same feminine and beautiful attributes as white princesses. Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Belle all wear gowns, gloves, and have neatly done hair. Disney also depicts these white princesses as well-mannered and feminine. Princesses of color, however, do not share these elegant characteristics. Mulan, an Asian princess, is a warrior. Pocahontas is depicted as a savage-like. Moana is known for her rebellion, and Jasmine wears pants. This exemplifies Disney's depiction of white as beautiful and civilized and people of color as other. With the majority of white presenting Disney princesses dressed in embracing feminine ideals and setting the standard of desirability and prestige, it is imperative to notice the stark contrast with POC princesses. Although these princesses are entangled with themes of bravery and strength, the issue becomes that POCs are supposed to engage with stereotypical hardships, especially when most of the POC Disney princesses did it for the love of a man. It may also cause identity issues for POC children who have limited role models to admire if they do not see themselves as similar to that of their one-off princess. The best part of any hero story is the presence of a conniving and diligent antagonist or villain. Lindsay Wong from the Unread Initiative would write, "The Jungle Book, Aladdin, and Mulan are also criticized because of racist caricatures. The portrayal of Louis and his monkeys in The Jungle Book is similar to the crows from Dumbo in the way that they make racist caricatures out of African Americans. The villains in Aladdin and Mulan, Jafar and Hans, respectively, are depicted with darker skin than the main characters and look more ethnic looking. This perpetuates the problematic message that good people have fairer skin and darker skinned people have villainous characteristics and are essentially a menace to society." For many children, Disney is one of the first memories that help influence them in their formative years. With many protagonists and heroes being white presenting, the majority of the villains traditionally are of darker skin complexions or display more ethnic features. This clear distinction that white is right and anything other than that is evil can feed into racist ideologies if not handled delicately for impressionable youth. In the early 2000s, Disney had found its stride with the adolescent market and had more diverse representation in some of their bigger platform shows. Some of those hits, including That's So Raven, The Cheetah Girls, and Jump In, all had diverse representation and even a POC lead character through the talented triple threat Raven-Symoné. We even had actresses such as Brenda Song, who became one of the longest tenured stars of Disney with a multitude of credits to her name. A shift in the diversity trends would occur after the blockbuster success of the High School Musical series. With a heavy emphasis on white and lighter complexion cast members, other Disney juggernauts would be launched, such as Wizards of Waverly Place, Hannah Montana, Sunny with a Chance, Camp Rock, and the Jonas Brothers. The Disney Golden Age had led to much less diverse casting, traditionally relegating POC cast members to supportive best friend characters. Before we continue, all this information is alleged. I am not calling Disney or anyone else racist, but just pointing out trends that even I noticed as a child. The 2010s saw the push for inclusivity in the realm of entertainment. Gen Z, through the power of social media, began to call out past indiscretions of popular media. A social media trend I remember was when people were posting shows that would most likely not be as well received had they been released in today's climate. This was compounded by the various movements that promoted inclusivity and speaking up regarding injustice that stemmed from social and political unrest. Some of the movements that contributed to this rise in social awareness included Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, and the body positivity movement. Disney would slowly begin to take notice of some of the discourse in the political sector. Prior to the rise of political activism in the new generation, Disney would release the 2009 animated musical film Princess and the Frog. I remember the hype for this film, especially as a member of the Black community. This was the first time that Disney was focusing on a Black-centric princess since the Cinderella live action that starred Brandy in the lead role alongside Whitney Houston. People were hoping that the film would live up to the expectations that a film like Mulan, which also had cultural influences guiding the storyline, created by becoming one of the most beloved films in the Disney catalog. However, Princess and the Frog was loved more for the moment rather than the film itself. The plot of the movie centers around Tiana, a young African-American woman in the 1920s who serves as an overworked waitress who is trying to open up her own restaurant chain in honor of her late father. Audiences began criticizing the film's portrayal of the first African-American princess as a frog frog in the film. Depicting her as an animal throughout most of the film may have caused confusion or comparison to the racial stereotype that black people are animalistic or savage, which is a common stereotype stemming from the days of enslavement. More Disney princesses would be created within the 2010s with more diverse messages in their stories, such as Moana and Yara Shahidi's casting as Tinkerbell in the 2023 Peter Pan live action. Other princesses who had more feminist views and attributes that were popular in the 2010s include Merida and Brave and Rapunzel and Tangled. Back to Halle's casting in The Little Mermaid, critics were not pleased with the decision to change or alter Ariel's identity. In the 1989 animated film, Ariel was white presenting with bright red hair. Halle was a lighter complexioned black woman with dreads. Critics did not believe ethnically that Halle would be able to embody the princess. When asked about the backlash, Halle said this in an interview with The Morning Hustle.
I honestly was expecting it, but I just thought of the bigger picture and how blessed and excited I am to be in this position and to be able to represent for all of the black and brown little children and boys and girls and adults of today. We deserve to see ourselves as our heroes.
Halle would discuss the overall importance of the role that she took on. She knew that backlash would come with the way the world is today, and she would speak about the importance of the support from her friends, family, and co-stars that it had on her.
Yeah, it was definitely my friends and family. Like, everyone has just uplifted me during this time and been so positive, and I've just been focusing on that.
In September 2022, the first teaser of the film would leak online, with Disney posting it to their official channel on September 9th, 2023. In the clip, we get our first look of the underwater CGI graphics along with Halle singing the iconic Part of Your World outro. Even though Halle sounds beautiful and it helped build hype for the film, the teaser quickly became one of the most disliked videos on the YouTube platform, quickly amassing over 2 million dislikes in over 24 hours. Over the next few months, Halle and the rest of the cast will proceed with the promotion of the film by doing interviews, red carpet appearances, and Halle even performing the movie's soundtrack at different viewings. A-list celebrities commended Halle's musical gifts, and stars such as Tia and Tamara Mori, Serena Williams, and Kim Kardashian applauded the importance of her representation for them and their kids. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would post, "The little queens have spoken. We love The Little Mermaid. Huge thank you to the amazing Halle Bailey plus director Rob Marshall at Disney Studios for being so gracious and kind. The invite, the movie, the toys, the snacks. I'm very impressed with Halle's performance on the big screen. What presence and charisma, but perhaps most importantly, I've been super impressed with Halle's grace and manner as she moved through this global spotlight with maturity and soul. I didn't realize it till these little munchkins asked me to Google her, but Halle's just a kid herself. Impressive. Halle, keep being the hardest worker in the room and sky's the limit. Look forward to working with you one day." And the coolest part of the day for me as a proud girl dad was watching our little girls of color watch Halle and all the mermaids on the big screen, and these little ones didn't think twice about it because that's their norm. All shades, all colors. In May, with the film around the corner, Halle would make appearances at Disneyland to meet children and perform Part of Your World. The clip would go viral all across social media with millions of TikToks and impressions of the video. On YouTube, the video has amassed over 8 million views and the trailer garnered over 21 million views. Melissa McCarthy, the award-winning actress cast in the role of Ursula, will comment on the red carpet premiere.
No human could have handled herself better. Halle is just, she leads with compassion and strength, and she's such an impressive young woman. I'm just so glad that my girls and other young people have her to look to watch how you handle yourself in adversity, because she did it with perfection.
It looks like Halle had officially broken through the mainstream with her first official lead feature film role. Released on May 26, 2023, The Little Mermaid live action has been hailed as a moderate success. Initially, the critic scores online were disproportionately negative compared to viewer opinion. It was attributed to haters bombing the film due to the movie having a black princess. At the time of recording, the film has grossed over $420 million in 3 weeks. Reviews on Rotten Tomatoes averaged the film at a 6.3 out of 10, while Metacritic gave the film a 59 out of 100. Reviews on CinemaScore and PostTrack gave the film an A or a 91% out of 100 and recommends others to view the film. One of the criticisms from viewers was that The Little Mermaid again played to the fact that the POC character was in peril. With Tiana being a frog in most of Princess and the Frog and Halle being mute for a good portion of the film, some were annoyed by the fact that although POC were in the lead role, it was almost like their story was being told through someone else's lens. Overseas, however, the film did not meet expectations. When investigating the overwhelmingly negative reviews, IMDb discovered that the unusual and unjust activity was due to Halle's race, and most of the fishy reviews were allegedly based in countries like China, Korea, France, and Germany, allegedly. The film tanked especially in China and South Korea. This brought up questions regarding Asian hate towards the black community and racism against black actors and actresses. Reports from previous years allege that many international movies that feature black or darker skinned actors on the promotional materials are redone to either be edited out or reduced to the background to make the film more appealing in Asian markets. This happened allegedly during the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens, when John Boyega, who plays Finn, is reduced to a very small portion of the promotional flyer in China. This brings light to the division even between the POC community. Throughout history, the Asian community was exampled as the model minority. According to the University of Texas at Austin, the model minority stereotype is the cultural expectation placed on Asian Americans as a group that each individual will be smart, wealthy, hardworking, etc. Somewhat based on the foundations of Eurocentric beauty standards, Asian cultures have higher rates of skin bleaching and lightening products in most of their convenience stores. In a sense, light is right, and the shared issue is colorism within all communities. The darker you are, the less desirable. Asia has been called out for its various injustices towards other POC and religious groups, specifically the treatment of their black and African inhabitants. As always, this is not indicative of the entire Asian population, but just some of the issues reportedly going on within the country. It is too early to tell what the greater impact of The Little Mermaid live action will be on the culture in the long term. The movie will most likely continue its promotional cycle for another 3 to 4 months before it will be released to streaming platforms. However, the impact cannot be diminished. Over social media, critics have issues with race swapping of princesses, the feeling that the production may not be up to standards compared to other Disney live actions, or you may be sick of all the recent surges of reboots and live actions rather than original content. But the key thing that is important is representation matters. Ariel's character was not wholeheartedly based on the fact that she was white presenting. Ariel's primary attributes are her voice and tenacity to go after her dreams. Now, although it may have been for a man, Disney attempted to alter the story slightly to give Ariel more power in her narrative. Halle and The Little Mermaid are more alike than we may initially have believed. Both have beautiful voices beyond this world, along with the drive and determination to challenge the norms to change the course of their lives and the lives of the people around them. That is what makes a Disney princess impactful. Allow Halle to give a small piece of hope and joy to little black and POC children to feel that they could be a prince or princess in their own lives and stories. It is more than just a title, but it's what characteristics that you naturally possess. For Disney, I fear that their next steps would be to continue swapping traditionally white presenting characters for POC characters instead of writing stories through the POC lens. That is a valid critique that audiences have had regarding the race swapping of Disney princesses. For example, films like Mulan cannot be race swapped due to the cultural influences in the film unless it is rewritten. Disney could benefit from producing films written through the POC lens with POC behind the scenes players. Although I do not expect many of these films to be made out of fear that they will not perform as well as some of the other blockbuster hits due to racist boycotts of POC films, the impact will be great for children and adults who may not feel accurately represented in Disney and popular media. If you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you for supporting me in my journey and commentary. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for all future videos, and check out my previous videos too while you're here. And let me know what other topics you would like me to cover on this channel. See you all in the next video.